and time to, well, stop down and talk about another college football schedule. We don't have a specific title for these segments, but we started off with the Big 12 going one school per day through all 16 schools, and now we are in the ACC, and we will get to the Big 10 and the SEC. We'll be doing this, I guess, most of the rest of the year until football season, but we will get to pretty much everybody. And this is a look in, not a preview, but just a look at and look in to the 2025 schedules for most of the teams around the country. And so today, alphabetically, brings us to the Duke Blue Devils, who are coming off of a 9-4 season under first-year head coach Manny Diaz. He's back. Coordinators are back. There has been a quarterback change as they go from Malik Murphy to Darian Mensah, the Tulane transfer, which was a very interesting switch that was made because, I don't know, I was surprised they just had the 1 year with Malik Murphy.
Yep.
But he moves on. Mensah comes in, and so now they're looking to build off of what was a very successful year and was knocking on the door of 10 wins. But obviously there will be some turnover as well. So what are they looking at in terms of their 2025 schedule? We'll start off with the opener, and that is Elon up first for the Duke Blue Devils in 2025. Played them last year in the opener as well. FCS opponent on Saturday, August the 30th. So that is how Duke will open things up, is with a gimme win, a paid win like everybody else has on their schedule. There to, for them, start things off. Others have it sort of scattered throughout. But Elon up first. So there's your nice season debut. Everybody come to the stadium, have fun, enjoy this win. And then from then on, it's a bit of a steeper climb potentially, as Saturday, September the 6th, they have a Big Ten opponent in Illinois, the Illini, with a very successful 2024 season in their own right. That will be at home. So Illinois, a nice non-conference opponent to test themselves there in week number 2. Then Saturday, September the 13th, what are the odds of this? What are the odds that you go to Tulane after taking their quarterback this offseason? But not only do you play the Green Wave, which is a dangerous enough opponent most years when it comes to the non-quote-unquote power schools, and obviously they've had some pretty good success. But, yeah, the year after you get Darian Mensah, and then you're traveling to New Orleans to play Tulane. So I find that pretty interesting as well. So that's week number 3, and we'll leave the non-con there, and it's not bye-week time just yet. They do have a couple that are very interesting the way that they're situated that I'll get to, but there's just the first 3 weeks. Elon at home, Illinois at home, and then at Tulane.
Yeah, that Tulane one, man, I think there might be some dudes ready to take a couple pops at Darian Mensah. There.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
a couple of his buddies probably want him.
Yeah,
you want to hurt
hey.
not hurt, but you want to sack your buddy if you can.
Yeah,
talk a little noise.
Yeah, absolutely. And Duke went ahead and told Malik Murphy, "Hey, go ahead and transfer," and they went and got Darian Mensah, which was a big move. And look, this is a Duke team that right now, they're in the best stretch of their entire existence in football, where they're winning 9 games more often than they're not.
9, 8, and 9 the last 3 years. Yep.
So they're doing well. This is tough, though, going to Tulane. Illinois got Luke Altmaier back again. Brett Bielema another year. That's a team that's going to be pretty fierce on defense, you would think. So, yeah, this is a tough 2-game stretch here. And they also – Craig, I know you're going to talk about it. This is the weirdest schedule we have done or will have done.
Yeah, when it comes to the buys.
I like to look at the early non-conference games of schools that don't get a lot of attention. Elon, I think, is even a school that back in the day maybe won a championship or two at some of the lower levels. Shane Gillis is a graduate of Elon. You know what their nickname is, their mascot?
The Phoenix.
The Phoenix. It's a great nickname.
Yeah,
Absolute
I like that.
Great name. I love it because it doesn't end in an S. But Shane Gillis, a graduate alum of Elon College.
Well, I don't think they'll have game day for that game. Unfortunately, we won't see a reunion of last year and him and Saban and all of that. Well, we probably will. They probably will have a reunion. This won't be for his alma mater versus Duke in week number 1.
Elon University, I said college. University, sorry about that, Craig.
So there was the non-conference schedule. Now they hit ACC conference play without a bye week at this point.
He did not graduate from Elon.
He's an alum.
He was asked to leave Elon University.
Well,
Ultimately graduated from Westchester. He went to play for Army at first, football. And
I'm shocked that didn't work out.
Yeah, and then eventually
he seems so disciplined.
By the way, he's a playable character in the video game now for Notre Dame.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting. Yeah, he has a big Notre Dame fan, right?
Yeah, that's when he and Saban kind of went back and forth at each other.
That's right. But yeah, so thanks for the clarification. There is a little bit of a difference, and I went there and I graduated from there. But there you go. Fair enough. So there's the non-conference schedule again. Not a break as they hit conference play, and will have played 6 consecutive weeks before their first break, but that conference opener will be at home after traveling to New Orleans to play Tulane, and it will be against the NC State Wolfpack. So that is how conference play will open up. Then it is a trip on Saturday, September the 27th, and I mentioned Saturday there for Duke. Every single game is a Saturday game. So that's a break you catch on the schedule that not everybody gets to enjoy. All Saturday games for them. So it's to Syracuse to take on Fran Brown and Company. The following Saturday, October the 4th, it's another road trip, this time all the way out to Cal. So you got the big, long cross-country trip to take on your longtime ACC nemesis, the Cal Golden Bears. But that is where you will finally catch your first off week is right after that. So pretty good timing there. If you have back-to-back road games, you'll have been on the road 3 out of the first 6 weeks, including 3 out of the last 4 weeks before you finally hit that first bye week. And you'll have that to just sit on for a second as we just analyze those first 6 games or so.
Yeah, they look, NC State, a lot of questions about them. Syracuse, at Syracuse, Fran Brown, year 2. I expect them to still be pretty good. Cal, again, a lot of questions. Lost their quarterback, Francisco Mendoza. He left. Fernando Mendoza. He left. So but it's still like they've got 2 games on this schedule where I'll tell you they're okay, and that's Elon and UConn. Like that's it. Like the
rest of it. Some people would even say UConn, maybe not, just because they have there's people that really believe in what UConn's got going on. They're feisty. So, but you should still feel like you beat them if you're Duke. Yeah.
But I'm looking at the schedule, and especially given how weird it is, that could be a factor for them.
By the way, I meant to ask a second ago. Do y'all remember where Malik Murphy went by any chance?
Washington or Oregon State?
Oregon State.
Oregon State. Yeah. Yep.
Oregon State. So that's where Malik Murphy is now, for those that don't recall. It kind of just happened sort of almost like quickly, it feels like. But so there you go. You get into your first bye week after trips to Syracuse and Cal. And then you come back after a couple of weeks away on Saturday, October the 18th, and you're back at home, and you will take on hopefully a healthy Haynes King and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, who ought to be a pretty spicy little team in the ACC this year. Perhaps I think that you like their chances to be super competitive. That was a fun team to watch last year, even though Haynes King was basically had arms dangling and, was just so beat up, but still they were fun. So Saturday, October the 18th, they get Georgia Tech after the bye. And then guess what? They get their other bye. They play 1 game in 3 weeks. Their Georgia Tech game is sandwiched by byes right there in the middle of right in the heart of October. So you will have the October 4th game at Cal, bye. October 18th, home versus Georgia Tech, bye. And that is just the strangest set of byes. We've seen teams with 3 bye weeks because of when they start, but I've never seen, off the top of my head, ever 2 bye weeks that close together where they're 2 out of the last 3 weeks.
I can tell you it happened to Baylor one time.
Oh, really?
And it was when it was when Bryce Petty got hurt, or Jordan Iver, because they had that transverse process fracture. So they weren't all worried about it because they was only going to maybe miss 1 game if it healed the right way. Because they had.
How did you know that Jordan Iver had a transverse?
Because Jordan told me.
I know.
But
lost you a job because of that. It did.
Yeah. But that, I remember that because I remember asking about, when I asked Philip Montgomery about it, he's like, well, it's not that bad if he's back because we've got a bye next week, then we have a game, then we have the other bye. But that was back when they had like a random thing of 2 byes,
Right.
and then they didn't do that until the last year or so. So, but yeah.
So there you go, a couple of bye weeks. I mean, is that not odd though? A bye week game, bye week.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I don't know if that's good or not, but it's right there in the middle basically. So I could see where that would be advantageous to like really get super rested up. But it is.
Well, especially
Yeah.
when after the second bye you're playing. Well, you'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Well, yeah, after the second bye, after 2 bye weeks in 3 weeks, and after Georgia Tech sandwiched in between, you return on Saturday, November the 1st, and you are on the road at Clemson. So you get what is the ACC favorite. Then Saturday, November 8th, or one of the ACC favorites. Saturday, November 8th, you're at UConn in a non-conference matchup. And UConn's not just some little, pushover program. I know that they're not somebody that jumps to mind, but they've been okay. So that's one that just we'll see where Duke is at that point in the schedule. But Saturday, November 8th, they are at UConn. Then November the 15th, it's back home for their first home game in nearly a month as they will take on the Virginia Cavaliers. Then next Saturday, on the road to face Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels. And finally, their last game of the season, which will be at home against Wake Forest.
Who beat them last year.
Is the 2025
No,
Duke.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What?
No, I thought Wake Forest beat them last year, but I'm looking at the wrong schedule.
Okay, so that is the Duke 2025 football schedule there for you. A couple weird bye weeks. They do not play Florida State, which is a shame, especially after the win last year.
The
I want
first
to know
one in school history.
It was. So where was that on your? I mean, I know at that point Florida State was like 1-6.
Rock bottom.
Okay, was that rock bottom?
That's rock bottom to me, to lose to a team that you've never lost to. And in all that time has only been with one score of you once. Once.
Really?
Yes. So then to lose to them is like, that's the game I wanted to go. Like if you had just put me in a room with Mike Norvell, I'd have been like, that only one time in the entire history of Florida State playing Duke have they even been close to winning. And I guess you can say 2 because – last year before Riley Leonard, or 23 before Riley Leonard got hurt, they could have, but that they didn't. They were 2 scores down at the end of it, and that's what matters. But this is the only time you've lost, and you weren't in the game at all. So
it's because Malik Murphy threw for a dazzling 70 yards in that game.
It was. I mean, here's the thing: they weren't in the game at all, but they were in the game. Like if you had an offense that could.
Walk and chew gum?
Peas standing up. I don't know, but they could not. They just could not.
Yeah, well, there's no back-to-back wins. I mean, I guess if there is, it would have to be interrupted by this year because no Florida State on the schedule and no Miami on the schedule.
Florida State's dodging them.
Yeah.
What?
Florida State's dodging them.
No Florida State on the schedule, no Miami on the schedule, no SMU on the schedule, no Louisville on the schedule. So... Virginia Tech I don't quite view in that same category. I guess they'd be, kind of maybe sort of, depending on how you want to look at it, but no Virginia Tech either on the schedule. They didn't play Clemson last year, but Clemson, for example, is back on. So this is the whole large conference. You miss out on multiple teams. You get multiple ones back. So that's your trade-off is some of these like Clemson come back. But, yeah, no FSU, which – most years you'd be like, oh, well, that's a break. Well, now it's like, is it? We don't know. No Miami's a break, though, probably. No SMU's probably a break. No Louisville could be a break as well. So that's who they miss out on, and that is where we stand with the Duke Blue Devils and what they face. I mean, they got Clemson. They got the tough non-conference schedule, but, beyond that, I feel like there's a lot of winnable games potentially on there for them.
Well, mention that. They had a 10-win team under Cutcliffe, maybe 1 or 2 that won 9 or so, but they're 9 wins and 8 wins under Elko and then 9 wins under Manny Diaz. So they're in a pretty good stretch right now. So maybe they have expectations to win 8 or 9 or better. By the way, Syracuse, speaking of which is, of course, on the schedule, they lose, of course, their quarterback that was at Ohio State, McCord. Redshirt freshman Jakari Williams and LSU transfer Ricky Collins are the ones battling this spring for the starting quarterback spot. Just to throw that in there, I know we'll do Syracuse several days from now because we're going in alphabetical order.